Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of the DC Capstone Report. It's great to be back with you this week for another podcast on Alabama football. Lance and I are so excited about everyone tuning in. Over 1,000 views of our last podcast. We just really appreciate each and every one of you who've tuned in to listen to what we have to say about Alabama football. And what a year it's been, folks. It's been great to be able to communicate with each and every one of you. And I appreciate you going to our website at dccapstonereport.com and also our Facebook page. Go there and like us on our Facebook page if you're interested in this podcast. Also, check out Lance's other sites, RollTideBama.com and FreelancePictures.com for some great Alabama content. Well, this week on the podcast, in the first segment, we're going to review the game against the Georgia Bulldogs, where Alabama came out victorious as SEC champions this past Saturday. In the second segment, we're going to take a look at our players of the game against Georgia. And then in our third and final segment, we're going to preview the upcoming game against the Cincinnati Bearcats in the college football playoff.
You're listening to the DC Capstone Report. The DC Capstone Report is featured each Tuesday morning on the Martin Houston Show at Tide 100.9. You can listen live at Tide100.9.com.
Well, here in the first segment, we're going to take a review of the Georgia game. What a game it was. Alabama comes away with a victory against the Georgia Bulldogs, 41-24. Our prediction was close. We had predicted 35-31. We thought Alabama was going to win, and we thought it was going to play out pretty much the way it did. When reviewing the game, the first thing I have to talk about is, and I think everybody out there that's an Alabama fan should be saying this, we have given them a lot of grief all year, but this game, our offensive line was the difference maker in this game. Our offensive line didn't give up a sack. Our offensive line did a great job of protecting Bryce Young and giving him a clean pocket to throw from, and just did a great job against this vaunted Georgia defense that was giving everybody fits coming in. You know, coming in this game, no national media gave us a chance. Everyone picked Georgia, thought it was going to be a beatdown. Everyone picked Georgia to beat us by multiple touchdowns and said their defense was just too much to overcome. And I've said all along that I didn't think Georgia had the same resume that Alabama had, playing the talent that we had played, and the talent of competition that they had played was much different in my opinion. And I thought that Alabama's loss against Texas A&M really solidified them to go forward to understand how to prepare and play for a game. And I really thought, as we talked last week, that the game against Auburn being so close really set us up very well to get preparation for this Georgia game, and that's exactly what happened. I think Georgia came in. I think they were overconfident. They had heard all the accolades that everyone was showering on them, and it's hard to get past that, folks. And then they come in pressing a little bit, and then after they got behind, they just really couldn't do anything to sustain anything in this game. But I think a key to the game, our offensive line played their hearts out. They did some adjustments. Seth McLaughlin, our third option at center, coming in after he settled down, did a really good job in this game. Thought Chris Owens picked himself up in this game and did really good. I think Damian George, Javion Cohen, all the ones that got in this game played. Emil Achior and Evan Neal. Javion Cohen, there's a couple of GIFs, if you hadn't seen them, of videos on the web of him going against their all-world Jordan Davis, number 99. And you could just tell in this game that Javion Cohen held his own against number 99. Now, number 99 made some plays, and he's a good athlete. But in my opinion, he just did not be able to make a difference in this game as everybody thought he would. And I think that gives a credit to our offensive line. I think also we need to give credit to our defense. It's been suspect this year. People have been criticizing Pete Golding and other people have been criticizing some of the players. But in this game, our defense stepped up. Our defense held Georgia's vaunting rushing attack to 109 yards rushing. 109 yards rushing. They did not have a single rusher, a single running back over 38 yards all game. Think about that. No player on their team gained over 38 yards from the ground, from the line of scrimmage. And that's a really good testament to our defense. And I felt like if we could put them in a position, and we talked about it last week on the podcast, you heard me say it, put them in a position for Stetson Bennett to have to make plays in the passing game, that he was going to make some mistakes. And the difference in the game was those mistakes that he made, those 2 interceptions that he threw, and it really turned the game around for us and really gave us a good confidence for our defense. Another thing I think our defense really did that we talked about last week that they needed to do was get off the field on 3rd downs and 4th downs. In this game, Georgia was 3 for 12 on 3rd down efficiency. 3 for 12. Amazingly, that defense played such a great game, putting them in positions on 3rd and long. And then they were 2 for 4 on 4th down efficiency. But overall, we got off the field on 3rd down. So it was a great play by our defense that put us in a position to make plays on offense. And the offensive line gave Bryce Young an opportunity to operate in a clean pocket. And when the pocket did break down, Bryce Young used his legs to extend plays. He improvised with that lateral to B-Rob. Brian Robinson got that lateral. It was a very, very unique play that extended that drive. And then he runs one in for a touchdown as well when the pocket collapsed. So Bryce Young did an excellent job. I think our QB play was superb in this game. I think he solidifies his Heisman Trophy winning, just showing you what kind of talent he has in this game. And I really believe that our 3rd down efficiency, we went 7 for 14. We were 50% on 3rd down, 7 for 14. Didn't have a 4th down try. And we got off. We were able to extend plays on some of those drives and take advantage of this Georgia defense. When you look, that Georgia had more time possession. They had 34 minutes and 13 seconds. Our 25 minutes and 47 seconds. But Alabama kept their defense on the field and went fast on a couple of series, and we could tell that the Georgia defensive players weren't as in good a shape because they had not been playing against that good a competition. I really believe overall reviewing of this Alabama-Georgia game, Alabama came in as the underdog. We don't see it very often. And I think these players took that to heart. I think they took it personally. And they took it personally that they weren't being respected for the play that they had. And I think Coach Saban realized that he had to tell his players, you got to go out there and earn this respect. And I think it started in practice. As Jordan Battle talked about the oneness that they had during practice, the chapel they had with Jeremiah Castile when he talked about being one and playing together as one. That stuff started early in the week as they began to prepare for this game. And I think it made a difference in this game as well. So overall, O-line play was superb. Defense played great. QB play was superb in this game. And our 3rd down efficiency, both on offense and defense, getting off the field on 3rd down, was really good. And that allowed us to make some plays in our passing game. And we took advantage of that matchup in the passing game. Georgia didn't have a single a defensive back that could keep up with Jamison Williams. Coming out of the game, losing John Mechie is going to be a hurt down the road. That's going to be a place we're going to have to feel, but somebody's going to have to step up. We didn't have much of a running game as we review and talk about that Georgia game. But, B-Rob was playing on a hurt leg. Sanders got a concussion in the game. So where we go from here in our running game, we need to concentrate on that and look forward to our next game. But we got some time to try to heal and get better in our running game. But overall, I thought it was a great performance to win against Georgia on a national stage like that, solidify us in the college football playoff as the number 1 seed, and solidify Bryce Young as a legitimate winner of the Heisman Trophy, in my opinion. Well, here in the second podcast segment today, we're going to look at the players of the game against the Georgia game. Let's start on the offense. One of my players of the game on offense has got to be Bryce Young. He did a great job. He extended plays on 3rd down. He used his legs. He threw some precise passes, got us in the right plays on other occasions, and just did an overall great job. I think he shows why he's the best player and offensive player in college football and should win the Heisman Trophy. So Bryce Young is one of my players of the game on offense. My other player of the game on offense has to be Jamison Williams. What a great pickup in the transfer portal out of Ohio State. To think that he didn't have a position on that team at Ohio State, and yet he's done so good at Alabama. We put him in a great matchups, out of the slot to make some plays with his speed. And in this game, Georgia didn't have anybody that could keep up with him with his speed, and he did a great job in this game. Was so proud of him. So he's one of my offensive players of the game. And my other offensive player of the game, first time ever this year on the podcast, it goes along with what I said in the first segment. I have to give offensive player of the game to every one of the offensive linemen. They really stepped up in this game. They really made some adjustments, and they really played together with heart. And I think that's something that's been lacking. Playing together, communicating together with heart and with passion. And I think they did that in this game. So my offensive players of the game are Bryce Young, Jamison Williams, and the entire offensive line. On defense, two players I want to highlight, the players of the game, both in the back end, as our safeties in this game, Jordan Battle and Demarco Hellums. They're my two defensive players of the game. Jordan Battle with the pick six that changed the entire complexity of the game. It changed the momentum of the game. He takes that ball back and really puts Alabama up. And from that point, it wasn't any doubt after that. But he played it well. It was a disguise scheme. I think it was wonderful to see Pete Golding put a scheme in that was disguising. What they did was they set up in one defense, showed the look to Stetson Bennett. He didn't have it. He made this pre-snap read, and then in a moment's notice, they changed to a robber defense, and Jordan Battle was the robber, and he stepped in front of that pass, knew exactly where it was going, stepped in front of it, and took it back for a pick six. Also, Demarco Hellums did a similar situation earlier in the game when he got the interception that changed the course of that drive. Georgia was driving and making some headway, and then he intercepts the ball. And that, again, was a position where they changed defenses on Stetson Bennett, and he couldn't read it fast enough and threw into coverage. So my defensive players of the game, although the rest of the defense played well and could give it to everyone on the team, highlight this week Jordan Battle and Demarco Hellums. Well, the third and final segment of today is going to be preview of the upcoming game against the Cincinnati Bearcats. By this time, all of you know that Alabama has moved up with the victory over Georgia to the number one team in the nation. Michigan is slotted in at number 2. Georgia fell to number 3. And the Cincinnati Bearcats, first time that a group of 5 team has made it undefeated all the way to the end and been rewarded with the college football playoff. So Alabama gets to play Cincinnati. It's going to be on December the 31st, so we got a little time between the game. And it's going to be in the Cotton Bowl out in Dallas at Jerry World at 2:30. Alabama has a good track record of playing out there. They like the stadium. They like the atmosphere. They seem to do well. I'm excited that it's a 2:30 game and get it over. Get to the game earlier in the day, and then sit back, get that game under the belt, and sit back and see who they play in the championship game. So I think Cincinnati is going to pose a formidable opponent in this. In some aspects, they match up better than other teams that Alabama has played. Cincinnati comes in with a great offense. They have a great quarterback that can affect you with his feet. They can move players with his eyes, and he knows how to throw even into tight spaces and do a good job. They have a great running back that used to play for the University of Alabama, Jerome Ford. He transferred out and now plays for Cincinnati, and he's done really good. He had over 187 yards and 3 touchdowns in their championship game of the AAC. So they did a fantastic job in getting him out of the transfer portal, and he's been really, really good for them. This team plays with a lot of heart. They have a good coach in Luke Fickell. So we have a formidable task, but I believe that we can beat them. Here are some of the things I think we need to do. And what we're going to do is give you a little brief today as far as what we need to do. And we're going to delve into this later on as we get closer to the game, maybe talk about it a little more in another podcast devoted just entirely to the playoff game. But, you know, Cincinnati is going to come in fired up with an opportunity to take down the number one team in the nation. So we need to be ready for that. Coach Saban said it best yesterday on his Cotton Bowl press conference. We did good against Georgia, but can we do it again? Can we sustain it? We need to know now that we're on one game at a time. It's win or go home. And we need to put every effort we can into not worrying about what our opponent is and not worrying about what our opponent does, because they're going to come in ready to play, fired up to play the number one team in the nation. We need to go in motivating ourselves to play to reach the goal that we had from the very beginning of the year, and that is to win another national championship. And we can't do it if we don't get past Cincinnati. If this team can buy into that one game at a time and play this game against Cincinnati with all the heart and passion and competitive spirit that they showed against Georgia, and with the resiliency that they showed against Auburn when they came back, then I think that we have an opportunity to go in here and beat this Cincinnati team, because I believe there's some ways that we can take advantage of, some matchups that we'll take advantage of that we can do going forward. Here's the number one thing we need to do going into this game. First is get healthy. We need to get healthy on offense in the running back room. Brian Robinson needs to get healthy. Trey Sanders needs to get healthy. Both of them need to be healthy going this game, because we're going to need to run the ball, because there are some matchups that the way Cincinnati plays defense, that if we can run the ball first, then we'll be able to do some play action passes that will really open up some big plays for us. We've seen other teams take advantage of that, and we can do the same, but we're going to have to run the ball in this game to set up that play action passing. In our passing game, we got to find someone to step up. Who's it going to be? Who's going to be that other wide receiver that's going to step up and make plays to compensate for the loss of John Mechie? John Mechie is a great player. He's a very hard-nosed individual. Knew where to stick his head in to get those extra yards. Knew how to come across the middle. Didn't scare about getting hurt. Didn't scare about getting hit. So we got to find somebody that can be a go-to person to get that extra yardage. So who's going to step up? Is it going to be Ja'Cory Brooks, who stepped up in the Auburn game? Is it going to be Trayshawn Holden? Is he going to get more playing time? Will we see Javon Baker or Ajay Hall make a move during the practice leading up to this game to show that they can be contributors in this game? Will JoJo Earl be able to come back? Will he be able to come back and play? That's something that we haven't thought about. Is he going to be able to come back and play and be a very big factor in this game, both in the punt returns, or maybe do we use him just in the wide receiver slot position in this game to help out? But the question that is on everyone's mind is, can Alabama find that person to take up the slack for John Mechie? And I think we can. We have a very deep wide receiver room that has really good skills, and so if we just need them to step up and play. Ja'Cory Brooks has shown it at times. Trayshawn Holden has shown it at times. Ajay Hall and Javon Baker have shown it at times, and we have the prospects of getting JoJo Earl back. Bryce Young needs to play within himself to make sure to do just what he's done all along. Don't make this any bigger than it is, but just go out and play his best game, and it will be fine. Him making the decisions that he's making. If we can get the running game going, I think Bryce Young has a field day against this Cincinnati defense. If our offensive line can hold up like they did against Georgia and give him opportunities to play. On defense, we need to limit mistakes. We need to limit busts. We can't let receivers be running in the open field. That needs to be a thing of the past. We need to play like our defense played against Auburn and Georgia to go in here and really set the tone in this game. And the number one goal is to stop the run. Cincinnati has, like I said, Jerome Ford, a great running back. We need to be able to stop the run and put them in passing situations with Desmond Ridder having to throw the ball in tight spaces. If we can stop the run and put them in opportunities where they're going to have to beat us with the pass, then we have I believe that's going to create some opportunities for us to force the quarterback to get in positions to throw interceptions, and we can take advantage of that in this game. Will Anderson Jr. and Dallas Turner, both on the edge, have an opportunity to get to the quarterback. In games that I've reviewed, and they have the tackles seem to be on the weakest link on this offensive line, so we can have a chance to get there. And our strong suit seems to be rushing from our defensive linebacker position. So I believe in this game against Cincinnati, just a brief preview, if we can get healthy, if we get to the game, can limit our mistakes, if we can play sound defensive football that doesn't give up any big plays and keep getting pressure on the quarterback and stop the run so the quarterback has to beat us with his arm, then we're going to have a good opportunity to win this game based on our defensive production if we can do just that. On offense, if we can limit our mistakes and limit our penalties. In the Georgia game, we had 0 fumbles and 0 interceptions. If we can duplicate that in the Cincinnati game, I think we win this game and we can win it big. if we limit those mistakes. We can run the ball and set up those play action passes. We're going to be able to take advantage of some mismatches that Jamison Williams has on that Cincinnati defensive backfield. I don't believe there's a player on that team that can stay with him speed-wise, and we're going to have a really good opportunity to affect that. Now, I'm going to go ahead and give you an early prediction in this game. I think Alabama comes out, hits on all cylinders, and plays this game one game at a time, realizing they got to win or go home. If they want to win the national championship, they got to concentrate and beat Cincinnati first, who's going to come in ready for them because they're the number one team in the nation, and this is their chance to show on a national stage that they deserve to be there. I think if Alabama comes out and plays their best game, as I think they will, Alabama dominates in this game, and Alabama wins this game. I like Alabama in this game big. So my early prediction is Alabama 45, Cincinnati 24. Well, that's all this week for the DC Capstone Report. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to try to have another podcast later on as we get ready for this game against Cincinnati. Hopefully we might have a little different format, and I might can bring on a guest to talk a little bit about how Alabama matches up against Cincinnati and what we can do in this game. But until then, this is DC with the DC Capstone Report, asking you to like us on Facebook. You can follow me on Twitter at DavidCott50. You can check us out at website at dccapstonereport.com and look at Lance's other sites, RollTideBama.com and FreelancePictures.com. Thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate you. Look forward to another time together. This is DC with the DC Capstone Report. Roll Tide.